Welcome back. You're watching Inside Politics. Thank you for staying with us. We now want to shift focus to matters youth leadership come 2022 and whether or not President Uhuru Kenyatta gave a soft endorsement to Raila Odinga. Let's take a look at this story where President Uhuru Kenyatta has given indications that he could back ODM leader Raila Odinga as his choice for presidency in the 2022 presidential election. The president, who was speaking in Nakuru just recently, said age is not a factor in the polls and equated a presidential race to a marathon race. Now, Uhuru told those eyeing the top seat not to underrate Raila because of his age. Our senior reporter, Jeff Kirui, with the details.
Back at the county that the political bromance between President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto started in the run-up to the 2013 general election, it is here again that President Uhuru Kenyatta has given the clearest indication of who he will back in the 2022 presidential elections. And it was apparent that his handshake brother Raila Odinga could be his choice.
Ukikuja waambie huyu ni mzee hafai, tunataka kijana, sijui huyu ni afako namna hii, huyu wako namna hii, huyu wako namna ile. Mtu anachagua na bongo bana, mtu achagui na
President Kenyatta's sentiment seemingly targeting Deputy President William Ruto's camp, who have constantly questioned Odinga's abilities to sustain the bruising campaigns mounted by DP William Ruto.
Ule mzee akipiga rali mbili anakujia na helikopta katikati ya lami. Huyu anaweza kimbizana na huyu wote kweli?
Sio sprint, ni marathon. Wewe utakimbia hapa, by the time umefika pale pumzi imeisha. Lakini mzee amekanyanga polepole akuja kupitia ukiwa bado kwa barabara. Tunaelewana wenzangu?
The president was speaking in Nakuru County during the conferment of a charter upgrading it to a city status. ODM leader Raila Odinga was also present at the event. Raila is on the 10th of December set to officially announce whether he will vie or endorse someone else for presidency.
So I'm inviting people to come to Nairobi on the 10th of this month, when we are going to talk about azimio la umoja ya watu wa Kenya.
Telltale signs indicating that he could be making his 5th stab at presidency. In October, Odinga said he rescinded a decision at the last minute to endorse Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i to succeed President Uhuru Kenyatta in a bid to secure an ideal candidate to face off with DP William Ruto.
But when we later on did a review and look at how the forest was looking like, and then he agreed, he told me, you should actually finish, go into this forest first.
The newfound dalliance between President Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga has ruffled feathers the wrong way in DP Ruto's camp, who read betrayal in the 2022 race.
Kama tulisema mchana ya kwamba miaka 10 ni ya Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta na miaka 10 ni ya William Ruto, kitendawili ametokea wapi?
Jeff Kirui, KTN News.
Okay, so interesting sentiments right there on the political stages. Mzee kukanyanga polepole akuja kupite ukiwa bado kwa barabara. Not my words, President Uhuru Kenyatta, perhaps referring to Raila Odinga and his competitors. Dismas, I'd like to begin with you on this. It's politics of marathons or sprints. Was that a soft endorsement in favor of Raila Odinga from the president, from where you sit?
Well, it would appear that it was an endorsement. While he did not give names, but the way he painted the picture, there's no doubt in any rational person's mind that it was an endorsement. But going besides that, in my view, leadership is not a fact of age. And you know, we can look at leaders globally. You can start with Martin Luther King, who said a leader must be judged on his content and character. So the issue of age doesn't come in. You look at Tony Blair, you look at the Kenyan who was a president in the US, Barack Obama, you look at Mandela. So in my view, age must not be consideration. What must be in consideration is whether or not the person we saw elected as the president of the Republic of Kenya has got capacity to take us to the next level, that he can identify human resources, resources, human capital, and align with our resources we have today and take us to the next level. That is what counts. The issue of age doesn't count, because if we start looking at age, then is President Kenyatta admitting that Kenyans made a mistake when they made him president at the tender age of 50 or 51, thereabouts. So in my view, we shouldn't look at Raila Odinga or Musalia Mudavadi or Ruto or Jimmy Wanjigi from when were they born. Let's look at their track record of success. What have they done in the past to convince us that they can deliver in the future? Because if you're going to look at age only, then you are going to get it wrong. You may find a young man from Mosocho at the age of 30, he can take us to the next level. In fact, look at Tom Mboya. How old was Tom Mboya when he was Minister for Economic Planning? Okay. And look at the policies he put forth at a tender age. And then on the converse, look at, okay, I may not mention names because I could be sued, but let's just ignore this age as a factor completely. Okay. Let's look at somebody's, and you know, when you study leadership, they say, what is a leader supposed to do? Look at Kenya, like the way they did in South Korea or Singapore. Where are we today? What do we need to get there? And then you harness the entire nation. That is what counts. Okay. In fact, the president should have really stressed on that as we go to the next elections, we should avoid people who score an A in impunity, an A in mediocrity, and A in corruption. We set them aside. And I think that's the message he should be running with. In fact, he lost an opportunity when he spoke about age. Instead of reminding people in Nakuru, and you know that's Kenya's political hotbed, that ignore people who embrace impunity, mediocrity, and corruption. All
right. Well noted. And perhaps we can just take a look at Musalia Mudavadi's reply, purported reply to what the president had to say, because that's not the first time the president has sort of criticized those who are moving with speed in regards to the general election. Listen in.
If people are worried that the young people are running very fast, then they must wake up to the reality that the young people are tired of us going too slowly.
Mimi nashindana na hao watu wadosi wengi, na saa hizi wamekasirika na mimi. Ati mimi nimeenda kuchochea watu wa huko chini. Nimewaambia wanaweza kupata hii, wanaweza kupata hii. Ati huyu mtu angewacha kwanza tujipangie mambo ya viongozi, tupange vyeo, tupange mamlaka. Mimi nawauliza, mbona sisi tuko na ubinafsi kama viongozi? Tunapanga mambo yetu, tunasahau mambo ya raia.
Well, the DP's response as well to some of the sentiments perhaps by the president, but we'll tackle that later on. Let's start with what Mudavadi has to say, and perhaps I can conjoin what he mentioned to the president, and it not being the first time that he's come out against those who are moving with speed. Remember how the word Tanga was coined initially, and it has negative connotations in Kiswahili as well. But let's talk about moving with speed, running a marathon and running a sprint, yet it's a marathon. Well, what's your take on that?
Let me just do a disclaimer that, number one, this is not an attack on any given party, but let's look at our constitution. When we wrote our constitution and ratified it, we imagined a situation where politicians would tame themselves and actually work for 4.5 years and begin campaigning the last 6 months. Indeed, the deputy president did an interview not a long time ago when he was asked whether he was campaigning, and he immediately backtracked and said he was instead inspecting Jubilee projects and the success thereof. It is ironic to me that he's the same person who says that the government has totally failed in this particular term, and you wonder what he was inspecting then. But double-speak is his game, and we know this. And I'm saying that as a statement of fact.
But it's across board as well. Raila took the ball back to IBC, you know?
You know, absolutely. Yeah. Now, number two, let us be clear. The president has a history of talking about the kind of people he doesn't want to lead the country. And Dismas has used mediocrity, corruption, and things like that, and impunity, and the president has a simpler term for that. Tusipigie kura waizi na hata achia nchi waizi. So on that, the president and Dismas agree. Now, you'd have to be absolutely foolish to go to the poll and give $100 billion economy to a thief. that would be stupid. The same way I would not allow the chairman of my chama to be someone who is known for having grabbed some land and things like that. These are issues we should avoid. Thirdly, the response and the statement about young people should be taken then in that context. You see, when a wise man, when you bring a spouse home, whether male or female, you know your mother will begin by saying, unajua watu wako na nywele fupi ama watu wako na kipara. She's not talking about the kipara. She's trying to identify for you who you should not vote for. It is an identifier. So the president is trying to identify that people who are impatient, people who do not want to wait for the right time to campaign, are the people you should not vote for. But also, people who are complaining about the president not supporting William Ruto, his deputy president, the question is, who has been in opposition of Uhuru's agenda? Number one, Big Four, who says it has died? Isn't it the DP? Number two, we go to corruption. Every person who's charged with corruption under Uhuru's regime, aren't they all plus Waiguru in the DP's camp? Number three, when we talk about BBI and the aspirations of 35% devolution and the things like that, who is more opposed to it than William Ruto? So you are opposed to every agenda of this person, then you want him to endorse you to do what exactly? It does not make sense. It is like asking Obama to endorse Trump. It cannot work. So the deputy president has opposed the president. Then he comes to say he's been kicked out. How? When you decided to oppose everything. You think if my wife opposes everything, you think my marriage will last 2 days. In fact, the president has been nice.
Interesting. Okay, Nyaribo, as you perhaps get the right of reply.
The head of state is actually addressing the youth, rather the more youthful politicians. And he turned to them. I think they were in the crowd, and he said, Vijana. And he was advising them. One mistake a nation can do is actually not to listen to the older generation. That's a big mistake. If a younger person is growing and knows it all, as he grows, there are chances he will make serious mistakes as he develops. So when you see a person in the office of the presidency of a country actually trying to talk, it can mean anything else, but he has better advantage and experience of matters of the country. And when he says, you remember Moi came up, and we all knew Professor Saitoti was, you know, the late Saitoti was his best friend and all that. And we knew he was going actually to nominate, I mean, was going to say, this is the guy. But later on, he actually said, Nimangalia, naona ni hapa. So when these older people speak, let's not be dismissive generally because we are youthful. And let me tell you, in the good book called the Bible, for example, when the prophets were, you know, prophesying to the, you know, Israel or whatever, there is always a statement made in the Bible saying, once you neglect the statements you are being told by your leaders, you will be left on your own. What the head of state, I mean, I've never sat with Ruto, to be honest. I don't know him the way those who have worked closely with him know him. But here is a man who has worked with him. He's telling you, gentlemen, please do this for me and for the country. So even if we don't support that, we should listen. Lastly, Rogers, what are you bringing to the leadership scene as a youthful person? This is what the president was addressing. You say you are youthful. What populates your thoughts and your mind? Is it, I want to help Kenyans on this and this and this and that? Or, I want to take advantage so I can buy all the gold in the world and show that I can, you know, I'm rich and all that. So this is the main issue.
And perhaps still with you, Wakili, let's talk about the politician that is President Uhuru Kenyatta. We've heard of managing succession being a poison chalice and all that. What should we expect from Uhuru Kenyatta in the coming days? Will it be a sort of gloves-off approach, hitting the campaign trail, or will it be silent endorsements? As we saw recently, I think it's in Migori, Raila Odinga was accompanied by cabinet secretaries, state officials.
Again, on this one, I blame Dismas for not taking me to sit down with Uhuru Kenyatta. Because, you see, let me tell you, I am told Uhuru Kenyatta is such a gentleman. And at least from hearsay, I think we will miss this gentleman. Why? If you are head of state, and we have Kenyatta, Jomo Kenyatta, Mzee Moi, we have Kibaki to compare from. I don't expect Uhuru Kenyatta to do anything more than what he has done, because if he was a vengeful leader, nobody would be going around the country abusing him. So I think that he has already shown us what to do.
Okay.
He has shook hands with Raila Odinga. He has said this is where we want to go.
All right.
So expecting him to do, I mean, people have insulted him right there on his face. He has not done anything. So he's a president we will lose. And I am not even sure the incoming president will be as polite as he is when you insult him right on his face. So I don't expect Uhuru Kenyatta to do anything to belittle or put down anybody, but he has already shown us what to do to put the country together.
Okay, Wakili, let's bring you into the conversation. We haven't forgotten about you, but take this approach. Looking at the DP style of politics, and we saw a couple of articles in the Standard sort of hint towards this, is he the new Raila Odinga? Because White might argue that he's positioning himself as the people's president. And just listening to that bite we played earlier, wadosi wamenikasirikia because nimesimama na nyinyi. You see, it's them and I'm standing with the people, the people's president. Well, what say you about that?
First and foremost, I must agree with those who are saying that President Kenyatta's statement in Nakuru was an endorsement of Raila Amolo Odinga. And in my opinion, the president did not attack the young people. The president did not deride the young people. The president has profound respect for the young leaders and the young people of this country. And this informs his progressive programs that he has put in place to help the youth earn a living. What the president was telling us, he was simply telling us this is a comparison between a contestant for the 2022 who is elderly, another contestant who is a young man. He was simplifying to us that he's speaking about Raila Odinga and William Ruto, and telling us that William Ruto might have started these campaigns in 2013, moving around this country, climbing the mountain, walking down the valleys, going to the lake. But Raila Odinga, in the past 1 or 2 years, he has moved in this country and is already running past the young man who has been running very fast. And Uhuru Kenyatta is not doing any unique thing. This is his predictable and non-political behavior. In 2007, Uhuru Kenyatta surprised us when he was the leader of official opposition and became the first leader of official opposition to back a government in power. And he supported President Kenyatta, President Kibaki, and Kibaki won. So there is nothing new with the president in 2022 becoming the first African president, Kenyan president, to back the leader of official opposition, Raila Amolo Odinga. And to compare William Ruto and Raila Odinga is very unfair. William Ruto can never be the Raila Odinga of Kenya. The difference between the two is like day and light. Raila is a pragmatic, progressive leader. William Ruto has been mentioned in every scandal, in everything that has undermined economy. And therefore, William Ruto's support in this country is actually based on renting. He has bought his support. He is buying his way into the leadership. Raila Odinga has warmed to the hearts of Kenyans, and therefore we can never have a comparison between the two. They are like day and night.
Okay, Chesa, you seem to be very fiery. We have touched a live wire right there, but this must briefly, looking at the style of politics, is he the new Raila Odinga? Because he's endearing himself as the people's choice, you know, and you look at his tone, they're targeting me because of you. And the next question will it work? Because Raila Odinga has testified that, you know, coining yourself as the people's president does not necessarily work, because you need the business class, the upper class, the middle class as well. These controllers of the, what is it called? There's usually a term, controllers, owners of capital. You need them on your side as well. Well, what's your take?
First of all, I think it would be very naive, and it would be a mistake for anybody to say that you cannot compare Raila Odinga and William Samoei Ruto. William Samoei Ruto is a young man. He's in his 50s. And he's taken a pole vault approach to issues. He's now at the apex of the Kenyan political space. Whatever he has done would be an issue for debate on another day, but he's right in the middle. And William Samoei Ruto has managed to make the president of the Republic of Kenya Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta nervous. He has managed to make Raila Odinga nervous. In fact, he has made the political class in Kenya nervous. That's why they are trying to come up with a strategy, One Kenya Alliance and Raila Odinga, to come up with a strategy so that they have a joint candidate to face William Samoei Ruto. So anybody who is saying that they cannot be compared, that is a man you can ignore, that is being naive and being on the extreme. But right to your question, who is a populist politician? A populist politician is an insider who pretends to be an outsider. The Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya is William Samoei Ruto. He is an insider, but when he's addressing people, he claims to be an outsider.
Okay.
He's very flamboyant, and he likes toxic politics, lying to people. Because, for instance, the other day when he was cornered, Mr. Deputy President, have you been campaigning? No. What have you been doing? Inspecting government projects. But before then and after that, he says Uhuru has kicked him out of a government. He doesn't know what is happening. He says that Uhuru has been a failure. So what has he been inspecting countrywide? Has he been inspecting Uhuru's failures? You see, now that's the toxic politics we are talking about. So these are a gentleman who has perfected the art of populist politics, claiming that everybody in Kenya has conspired to stop him from being a president, as if it's wrong for anybody to run for the office of president. So, you know, anybody is allowed. I think the lawyers would confirm, if you're above the age of 35 and you have resources, you can run for president. Yeah. So he can never take Raila's position, because when Raila was fighting for our liberation, it was deep from the heart. But whatever the Deputy President is doing today is simply for the purposes of becoming the President of Kenya. Okay, and with all fairness, it's not just the DP who is involved in early campaigns and double speak. We've seen it across board. Okay, all of them have denied. Yeah. Because when you talk about Azimio La Umoja, Raila goes around meeting all the governors. Which Azimio La Umoja are we talking about? Sure, that is a campaign. Definitely. Perhaps briefly, 1 minute. So,
you know, one of the things that is critical, and let's put it bare, that number one, when our good friend Chesa is saying in Kakamega, he's not comparing popularity. He's comparing history. Okay. And one of the things that I would like every Kenyan to do, please go sit down, look at Mark Bichachi's history if he wants to be your president. Then look at William Ruto's history and look at Raila Odinga's history. And then make a decision from that perspective. Because we would be lying to Kenyans to say the track record of Raila Odinga fighting for this country can even be compared to Mudavadi. If you look at Mudavadi and he likes talking about economics, then you have to look at Golden Bag economics. If you want to understand William Ruto, you've got to look at YK92, you've got to look at his where he stood in 1997, 2002. That is how you know someone. This idea of politicians coming and telling you what you want is like marrying a man because he told you he'll cross the ocean for you. None of us have ever done it.
Well, we have to take a break.
We've left a point here. We've left a point here. Let's be honest to the youth. When did Mudavadi start politics? He was simply plucked from university. When did William Ruto start politics? He was assisted by Moi and brought into politics. Who else? Even Raila Odinga himself, when did he come to politics? Through the father, you know. So I think what we also wanted to comment, you know, for people to understand is youth must be given a chance from the time they're in high school, in university, and in, you know, and after that, so that you don't try to tell people that, wait, your time will come. So we and the youth should be assisted from now. You must nurture talent where you see it. You don't have to wait for somebody to fight and come all the way. Then you say now you are fit for political office. Okay, so much to talk about, so little time. So allow us to take a short break on that particular note right now. Keep your conversations coming in on social media. I can see them. We'll definitely get to interact with you back at home, even in the next segment where we get to listen in to your feedback in terms of the talking points we've had right here on the show. The number should be on your screen in a few, so feel free to reach out to us and we'll definitely sample what you have to say about the various issues, the state of the nation, IEBC's exit from the multi-sectoral team, and equally the politics of endorsement, whether it was or whether it isn't, or basically, are we running a marathon or a sprint like a marathon? Stay with us, we'll be back in a few.